welcome to MasterClass Junior. We are here in the kitchen. Hopefully all the internet is working this time. Got my little assistant here. She is ready to cook, aren't you? You've been working hard at school, in her bedroom, homeschooling. She's been doing really, really well, as I'm sure all of you out there are doing. So keep up the good work. We will get you all back to school eventually, I'm sure. Have some sense of normality will come. So, what I thought we would make today is like a nice shepherd's pie. It's getting dark outside, it's a cold day still, something nice and warming and rich and something to just sit down next to and have a lovely dinner. And actually this one is going to be a vegetarian one. So we're making shepherd's pie. So, I posted on Facebook earlier today to get your potatoes into the oven and cooked and baked. So I'll just show you, we've done ours here. All right. Emily's running around a little bit, just checking all the cameras. She's stressed, to say the least.
She's put them on the chopping board too.
Yeah, but she's getting there. Okay. So all I've done is I've just baked those for 45 minutes to an hour. It depends on the size of the potato, depends how long it takes to cook, doesn't it? But we like a jacket potato, don't we? I actually think jacket potato is a really good way to make mash, because instead of putting it into water and boiling it and sort of diluting all the flavour, if you bake jacket potatoes, the flavour stays in the potato and you get a much lighter, fluffier mash. But I'll show you in a little bit later what we're going to do with those. So, first of all, what I'd like you to do is, will you grab me the kettle pot just over there? So, we're going to kind of get a really meaty flavour going on in here, but without meat. What was that noise? It's an iPhone. What we're going to do is I've got some dried wild mushrooms here. And if you smell just have a smell of those pops. They're really beefy, really meaty. No, you're not having that? And that's what gives you the real umami depth of flavour. So I'm going to pour some boiling water over these mushrooms just to hydrate them up, okay? So there we go. And then we'll leave those to one side. Are you all right, Emily? Yeah? Okay. We're going to chop the onions. I know you love a good chopped onion.
You can do.
Don't you? You want me to chop them today?
I'll do one maybe.
You'll do one. Well, your tipless knife is there. Should we do one each together? You do that one. All right, I'll do this one. So, first of all, we want to get our onions cooked. So, cut them in half. Pull the knife through, that's it. And then slice nice and fine. We want these to cook quite quickly. So, you're doing the opposite of me. Pull backwards towards yourself with the knife. And then turn it the other way and chop. Keep your fingers curled up, nice and fine. Tucked away so that if you slip, you don't cut the end of your finger off, okay? That's always the way, all right? So you need to be careful to not cut into the onion all the way. Do you remember when I said, I'll hold that together for you? So try again on the next one. That's all right, practice makes perfect.
Not cut all the way through.
No, so you need to start there and finish here. So watch exactly what I do, okay? So I start there and I pull the knife towards me. So use the tip of the knife. That's it. Hey, a little bit less so that it doesn't come apart, like that. Chopping onions is like lesson 1 at cooking college, okay? You've got to be able to learn how to deal with ingredients and chop them. And the better you come at chopping, sort of the easier cooking becomes. It's just more fluid, it's a lot easier. And we're actually using a tipless knife here, but they work just as well. Right. I am now going to just pop some oil into the pan. Are you going to chop the last onion for me? I'll do the carrots because we need those to be quite small. Right, so first of all, in with our onions. Okay, let's get those going. Chuck it in, be all right. Good. Right, you chop that last onion because you're doing well. Yeah. Right, I'm going to season this with a little bit of salt because that will draw the water out of the onions. And that's what helps them cook nicely. A little bit of pepper as well at the beginning. So we're going to season our food as we go and build layers upon layers of flavour. And that's how sort of chefs make their food taste really, really good. It's about a level of flavour and then build another layer and another layer and get all the water out so that the flavours are intense and delicious and bold. You all right? Okay, so onions cooking away. Do you want me to do this one?
No, I want to do it.
You're going to do it, all right? Well, I think the recipe says... What does the recipe say? Let me double check. But we've got very small onions. So, 1 medium onion, but we've got very small onions today from the shop. So we've done 3. But if you like onions, put more in, because you end up with more filling. All right? Good. Okay. Oh, love the smell of onions cooking. Love it. Right, are you okay?
Yeah.
So those mushrooms, can you just cut into those mushrooms, please, for me, Emily? So you can see the water has absorbed into the mushrooms, and now they're no longer sort of dry and cardboardy. They're now sort of succulent. We've got a lovely, rich, deep flavour. Mushrooms, when they're dried, take on such a different flavour. Right, can you stir that for me?
Yeah.
If I give you a tea towel, you could just hold that there, hold the pan, and keep stirring, and we'll do some chopping. So now we're going to do the celery, and this is going to help with the savoury flavour as well. So I'm going to chop it into little sticks. Are we getting any more questions, Emily? We were a bit short on questions the other day, weren't we?
Yeah.
I like my questions, please, all of you out there. So my celery... I know. Right, I tell you what, just turn the fan up a little bit more. There you go. So, cut the celery into really thin little sticks, and then bundle them all together, and then chop them the other way, so you end up with really fine little pieces. You could, if you were pushed for time, you could just chuck all these in a food processor and just whack them up, but I quite like doing this by hand. And what we're trying to do is, traditionally with a shepherd's pie it would be a meat of a sort, but would be minced. So I'm kind of sort of trying to create that similar texture, but with vegetables. She's moving about a lot today, isn't she?
She's stressed.
Is she stressed? I'm the one that's cooking. No. Emily's trying to make sure that everything's working, all the cameras are working.
At once.
All the audio's there, answering questions. To be fair, I've got the easy job. I'm just
all
cooking.
At once at the same time.
I know, she's doing very well. I think she's aiming for a gin and tonic later. It's only Wednesday.
I've got a question, Pete.
Yeah.
What are the vegetables you're using in this?
So other veg you could use butternut squash, you could use sweet potatoes, you could use parsnips, you could grate cauliflower. There's a lot of recipes out there for cauliflower mince. You can do more fresh mushrooms if you want. I just selected, onions and celery because, and carrots, because carrots have got a nice sweetness, and I'm going to chop them all up so that they kind of act a bit like mince, but they're not. They're made with vegetables. And then the celery and the onions give us that sort of savoury hit. And Poppy's just sort of mixing them all together.
It's better now, I'm not.
Yeah, you're not crying anymore. Good. There's nothing worse than onions making you cry. I think I've been cooking since I was 15. What am I now, Poppy? 44? Something like that. I forget. I can't decide if I'm 44 or 43. I'm 40 something.
43?
Am I 43?
No, 44.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I was born in 76. What does that make me? Yeah, it makes me 44, doesn't it? Oh no! Am I 45 this year?
Yeah,
Goodness me.
nearly 15.
How did that happen? So I've been cooking nearly 30 years. Wow, that is a long time. Right, now let me talk to you about the carrots now.
I want to chop some.
Well, let me do a couple and then you can have a go, yeah? Because it's important that you get them really nice and small So we're going to cut them in half, we're going to turn it on its end and take our time and cut them into little pieces, okay? Now again, if you want to chuck these in a food processor and blitz them down, you are very welcome. I will not judge you. I am not going to, because I'm doing it on camera and I want to show you sort of knife skills and techniques, and you know, I want my kids to be really good in the kitchen and confident, because I think when you're confident, you're capable in the kitchen and you can create great food because you're feeling confident and you know what you're doing. And then that's when you can start to knock ingredients together and make great food. So I'm now cutting these into matchsticks, the same as we did the celery. Then bundle them up together and do it in 2 smaller piles. Stop playing with the extractor, you. And then bundle them all together. Are we getting in on this, Emily? Yeah? And then just cut them into real fine little pieces. Almost like mince would be when it was cooked. Almost. All right? So.
Tiny.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what, I mean, if you had more time and you want to do it the weekend, you could do bigger pieces if you wanted to, but I'm trying to make that kind of mince. But I'm trying to do it with just vegetables, not with, you know, with soya or corn or anything like that today. I mean, you could add a tin of lentils, washed lentils to this, and that kind of acts a little bit like a mince texture. You could add kidney beans to this, you could add black beans to it, they're quite popular at the moment. You could add a little bit of cooked quinoa or bulgur wheat or something like that, just to give you a bit of texture if you wanted to. I feel like Emily's going to come at us with a question. Come on, Emily, give us a question.
Would this recipe can you batch cook it?
Yeah, totally. Batch cooking is like such a great thing to do. I would do like 3 times the amount and freeze it down into portions of the sauce, and then you can kind of do what you like with it. You could add some cumin and chili powder and turn it into a chili. You could make another shepherd's pie. You could make it Italian, and you could, you know, add garlic and tinned tomatoes and make it into a lasagna, or throw it through some pasta. You can kind of do whatever you like with it, really. Burritos, that would be good. Anything you like. Right, how are we doing? We good, Poppy?
I think so.
Yeah, you're all right?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is this extra carrot, we'll just get these going, and once they are in the pan, we're then going to start to add all the liquid, and we're going to add some red wine, which we're going to cook out all the alcohol, so it doesn't matter. It's just there for flavour. The alcohol will boil away, and there'll just be that lovely depth of flavour.
I've got another question.
Yeah, fire away. From you or from a viewer?
From the viewer, Natalie.
Natalie.
I batch cook all my meals. How long will this last in the fridge?
In the fridge, I would keep it, what they say is like 3 days in the fridge is the official. That's what we do. You want to put them in like a Ziploc reusable bag or something like that. The key is to remove all the air. But you could always just portion it out and pop them into the freezer. So that works really well. But definitely batch cook it, for sure. Right, we're getting there. It does take quite a while with these, doesn't it? But you can see we're starting, in the pan, we're starting to build up some volume now. You know, normally a recipe like this would be like 500 grams of minced beef or pork or turkey or, you know, chicken or anything like that. So we're trying to build up to the equivalent, but with veggies. Once we get the heat up and going, yep, she's on to the next camera. Right, almost there. Let's do one more of these carrots. Are you wanting to have a go at this?
I'll try.
You'll try, right. Well, I will do the smaller piece, you do the bigger piece. Let me...
Oh no, let me do the smaller piece.
All right, I'll do the bigger one then.
No, actually, I'll do the bigger
All right, I'll do that one. Are you sure? Do you want to change your mind? It's too late, I've cut into this one. Have you been watching what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Yeah? So you're just going to cut into strips
And then
and then into matchsticks. Yeah?
tiny little.
And then turn them around and then into little dice. Yeah? And take your time. Let me do these ones. Here we go. So have we got many people online cooking at the same time, do we think, Emily? Do we know what's going on out there? Yeah? Good. Obviously, we're cooking this in real time, but, you know, don't be put off by that. You know, if you just want to sit and watch and watch it again later, and make it at your own time, do that. Get the recipe. You've seen it be made. That's often, I find, it is easier. When you've seen it being made, it's a lot easier to replicate then. So you can just sit in your armchair after a busy day at work.
There's a bit.
And then just see how we do it, and then get the recipe and have a go yourself. Kind of make it how you want. Right, Pops. Okay, are you ready? So.
Put into.
Yeah, but you want nice thin strips, yeah, like that. So fine, and there you go. Gently work your knife down. Yeah? Push it down. There, good. Keep your fingertips away. Yeah? That's it, good. Good. There you go, you're flying solo now.
Oh no.
No, you're all right, I'm watching. I'm confident that you're going to be fine. Take time. Okay. Right, now once you get to that point, once you feel uncomfortable, you stop, all right? So what I'll do is I'll cut that last one for you, and then hold it like that.
Okay.
Yeah?
And cut down.
And then cut down like that. And then...
Do you need that bit?
yeah, let's cut it all up. So you've got some little piles now, and you can cut those into matchsticks.
Thin one?
Yeah. No, the other way.
Oh.
Long ways. That's it. So use the tip of your knife. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, it is. If it's too thick, do less. Right. So what we're going to do now, while Pops is just chopping that carrot in, we can make a start on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my flour. This is going to thicken it. Now you could use gluten-free flour, or you could use corn flour if you didn't want to use a traditional wheat flour, but it's going to act as a thickener, and that's what I want it to do. It will sort of stick to the vegetables, and then as we add the liquid, it will kind of thicken and make that sauce, so it's not just, it's not like a soup, it becomes something a bit richer.
One a bit big.
It's all right, just pop them in. Practice makes perfect, yeah? Okay, so the flour's in, and then we're going to add our tomato puree for a good bit of depth of flavour. Go on.
How much?
It's in the recipe. And our red wine. Don't tell Mrs. Sidwell we borrowed her red wine. What will she say? She'll be mad, won't she? But she'll never know. Yeah.
If you don't want to use red wine, what can we use as an alternative?
Replace your red wine with more vegetable stock. But if it's the alcohol that you don't want, it will all burn away, okay? So I'm just going to get my stock now. So I've got my vegetable stock, and I'm using boiling water because I want everything to be hot. If you did it with cold and pour it in, your pan's back to cold again, okay? How are we doing? Can you see in the pan there the way it's thickening, Emily?
Yeah.
Yeah? So you can really see that the flour and the wine are binding together to create, it looks almost like mince, which is what we want. So I'm just going to give my stock a stir. You can use, I'm using vegetable stock. You can use chicken stock if you want to. Obviously you could add, if you really wanted to add some minced chicken, turkey, pork to this, you can. You would just need to add a little bit more liquid, but what I'm trying to do is a completely vegetarian version, but with real depth of flavour, so you don't feel like you're missing something. Because I know a lot of people have sort of said to me, oh yeah, I like vegetarian food, but I just feel like it's not as gutsy and robust, and I'm like, no, we can definitely make it full flavoured, rich, warming, comforting, delicious. How are we doing? Are we ready? Good. I think that'll be enough once you've done those ones. I think we'll be good. Because then we're going to chop the mushrooms. Do you want to do those for me?
Yeah.
Or are they, yeah? Okay, so we're just going to let this simmer away now. You pop those carrots into there. Brilliant. Right, I'll move this out the way. Let's move that and that. So we're getting closer. We are getting closer. Sorry?
It's smelling good.
Does smell good, doesn't it? What do you think? Smells... No, all the alcohol's gone now. Right, so, while we've been busy, let me just tidy that up. Our mushrooms have pretty much absorbed most of the water. And they're hydrated and they're lovely and rich. So I'm actually going to squeeze out the remaining liquid, like so. And then I'm going to ask Poppy to chop them up into little pieces. Because what we don't want is big lumps of mushroom in this, because that's what kids don't like. Okay? Now, do not, under any circumstances, throw this away. This is like rich stock. I'm going to pour that in gently, but not all of it, because look, there's some little grains there, some little bits of sand, things like that. Always find that you get those in mushrooms, because they've got like those gills, they absorb sort of little bits of soil. So when you soak them, just let the last tablespoon of liquid stay in the bottom, okay? Because otherwise it'll end up in there. Right, how are we doing? Are you ready to chop those up, Pops?
How?
Do you want me to show you, or yeah, no, that's fine. You keep chopping them all up. We want to chop them really, really fine.
You can do it.
Yeah? You sure? I'll get a bigger knife. All right. No problem. Are they freaking you out a little bit? Okay. So, I'm just going to chop them up, like so. I want these to just melt away like you wouldn't even know they were there. The idea is just to add that depth of flavour, not to make this a mushroom recipe. Is our transmission going okay, Emily? Is our bandwidth behaving? Yeah? Our bit rate behaving? Are you seeing the numbers you want to see? Thank goodness for that. She's seeing numbers that she wants to see. That's good. Right, so you can see now, Pops, look. Can you pop those into that pan, just sprinkle them in and stir it away? Yeah? That's all right. You can do it again. So sprinkle those in.
What can we use as an alternative?
As an alternative to the mushrooms? Yeah. Well, I mean, the mushrooms are there to give a real depth of flavour. You could add a little bit more stock to get more flavour. You could add seaweed, which is actually another umami type flavour. I tell you what you could add a bit of Marmite. A bit of Marmite is that real savoury kick that these mushrooms are going to give you.
I don't think so.
Do you not? I sneak Marmite into all sorts of things and you don't know it.
Yeah, that's why I'm...
Marmite is my go-to thing. I love it. But yeah, so Marmite would give that. Anything that's like really salty and deep, you could add some soy sauce to it. That would work. Dried seaweed works really well because it's very umami, salty, savoury. It's just giving more depth of flavour. But if you look at this stew, it looks like a thick, rich ragu type sauce now. It doesn't look like vegetables. Okay? Your mum's going to love that if we don't tell her the mushrooms are in there.
Oh.
Okay, right, so shall we turn our attention to the potatoes now?
Is it able to touch?
Yeah, it's cooled down now, enough to touch. Now they're warm out of the oven, but they're not hot, okay?
Tiny.
So what we're going to do, I know they're little ones. What we are going to do is cut them open like so. Sorry, a little bit lower. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut them open, and you come this side, Pops. Grab yourself a spoon out of the drawer. This drawer here. And what I want you to do is scoop them out. I'm just going to check. Oh! Scoop them out straight into the bowl. Yeah, leave the skins, okay? It's the skins that we don't want. And what you can see from here, can you see in the potatoes here, Emily?
Yeah.
Look how fluffy they are and light. They're not wet and starchy and soggy. It's fluffy potato because they've just cooked inside their own skins. All you've got is potato flavour there. So what we're going to do is cut them all open. Let the last... That's all right, I'll let you off. Don't throw the skins away because I can keep those. I'm going to let all the steam out so that I've got no moisture in there. I want fluffy, light potatoes. That's fine, just pop them on that there.
They're quite pasty. potato skins. I don't mind them.
Definitely. Well, I'll tell you what you can do with a potato skin. Once you've scooped them out, I think I've stole Emily's thunder. She was going to ask that question. So, you can make extra potato topping. And when you've got more potatoes, you can make some really delicious fish cakes. Or you can do like cream cheese and onion and mix it all with potatoes and turn them out like into little potato fritters. What you can also do is make hash browns. So a bit of mashed potato and then grate some raw potato. Wash it and then mix it with mashed potato and make little hash browns. They're kind of cool. But with the skins, you can spray them with a bit of oil once you've scooped the potato out and then bake them in the oven, and then you've got these crispy skins that you can just dip into like hummus and sour cream and, you know, dips and whatever you like, really. They're really cool. But you can also make a soup out of potato skins and it is delicious. If you love jacket potato skins, I love the skin, it's the most delicious thing. Put them all into a pot with some water and boil it for a couple of hours and then pass it through a sieve, and you end up with this golden brown clear stock that tastes of sweet potato. Amazing with a bit of gnocchi.
We do have a question from Giselle.
Giselle, yeah, fire away.
And how do you peel them? So peeling off the skin, is this okay?
You can peel the potatoes and boil them if you want, but you end up with a very different potato texture to this. You end up with a slightly wetter, starchier mashed potato. And if you've boiled them, you then have to drain them when they're cooked and leave them to steam to all evaporate for about 10-15 minutes. Because when they come out of the pan, they're full of water. You've got to get the water out to make a lovely, light, fluffy potato topping. Right. So you can see that looks really, really good. I'm really pleased with that sauce. That is going to work really well on all kinds of things. So we're just going to take the lid off and I'm going to let it reduce down a little bit so that the potatoes can just sit on top, no problem. Okay, so that final little reduce. How are we getting on? Do you want some help?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, let me get a spoon. Let's scoop these out. Got any more questions for me, Emily? That'd be really handy if you did.
Can you make the mash any other way? You have to do it.
You don't have to bake potatoes. You can cook them in boiling water, peel them, cut them into quarters, boil them until they're tender. I always tend to lift one out and use a butter knife. And if I can push a butter knife in effortlessly, they're ready. I then pour them through a colander and leave them for 20 minutes to get all the excess moisture out so that I still end up with a slightly light, fluffy filling.
Are we using all of them?
Yeah, let's get them all done. We're nearly there. Dad's on the case. Dad's fast, you see. You've saved one for you. You've snuck one of you. That's all right. You can do that. Do you want to save one for your little brother? It is my little son's birthday today, so he can't be bothered to cook with Dad today because it's his birthday and he doesn't have to. So he bailed on us, didn't he?
Excuses.
Yeah. You're always here, aren't you? You like cooking, don't you? What is your favourite thing to cook?
I like the puddings.
You like puddings. Friday, we are making pizza, okay? We are making pizza, and for pudding, we are doing caramelised pineapple with ice cream. How does that sound? Caramelised pineapple. There will be no pineapple going on our pizzas, I warn you now. Absolutely none. The pineapple is for pudding, not for pizza, okay? Some people have
fruit on pizza.
I don't know. Some people weirdly have fruit on their pizza. Right, so can we cut into that, Emily? And you can just kind of see. So I'm not mashing this potato. We're leaving it in like little cooked fluffy chunks. Can I have that cloth? Poppy's just to one side of the camera eating potato. So you'll have to excuse her for a minute. So I've got some smoked cheese. Now, I designed this recipe originally for a vegan event. And I discovered a bit sceptical, but I've got a friend who has a vegan restaurant where we live, and she said to me, no, Pete, honestly, I can't do her Australian accent and I'm not going to. She said, totally try it. And I was like, nah, it'll be no good. And I tried it and actually I was really impressed. So you can get a vegan smoked applewood cheese that tastes really good, and more importantly, it melts nicely. And I think sometimes with vegan cheeses, they don't necessarily melt how we expect them to. But nevertheless, all we're gonna do is grate. We're back on the great jokes, Poppy.
I've actually eaten the potato.
You've eaten Thomas's potato, have you? Was it great? Oh dear. Okay, so in with the cheese. And then I've got some chopped chives, okay? So we're going to sprinkle those in. Gives it a nice sort of oniony, savoury flavour. We're going to give it a little season, not a lot, because there's salt in the cheese. There we go. Little sprinkle of pepper. You don't have to put the cheese in if you don't want to. If you're, a bit more worried about the calories. I've got a little drizzle of olive oil. This is almost like a warm potato salad. Okay? And then I'm just gonna, do you want to mix that together? Mm-hmm. Now you've finished your snack? Gotta have a snack break, absolutely. So I'm just gonna level out this vegetarian ragu now, because this is ready for the potatoes. Yeah. Okay, right. Let's pop this onto here so Emily can see that, okay? And then let's spoon this on. Okay. Spoon it over the top. Can you pop that to wash, please, Pops? Yeah. Okay. And then just spread it out. And then we're just going to pop this straight into the oven. And I have got one that's already baked to show you. So let's pop this one in. You ready for the close-up on this one, Emily? Oh, it looks good. Look at that. There you go. Looks good, huh?
No.
So all the cheese is melted. Can you see that all right, Emily? Yeah. All the cheese is melted. We've got fresh herbs in there. This is going to be rich, warming and comforting. Let me grab a spoon and we can serve this up. Oh.
It does smell good.
It does smell good, doesn't it? And no meat, doesn't need it, okay? We can make a shepherd's pie, vegetarian, that tastes amazing and delicious. There we go. Now, if you want the recipe, go to masterclass.co on the website and you'll find it there. I'm sure the guys at Kitchen Craft will be posting the recipe on the Facebook page as well. It is really, really tasty. Honestly, any meat eater, don't tell them they won't know. They'll love this. Please join us on Friday at 5 o'clock. We're going to be making pizzas. It's been a long old week again, so we're going to have some pizza and we're going to do a dessert of caramelized pineapple and ice cream. So thank you very much. If you've missed anything or have any questions, please let me know in the comments below and we'll answer them for you.